What a comeback for the Philadelphia Eagles. All right. We're back. Um, yeah, that was quite the game. I have not experienced something like that in a very long time with an Eagles team just coming back from that big of a deficit. It's been since the Miracle in the Meadowlands 2. And I remember where I was when I watched that game. But this was a great job by a very resilient effort from this Eagles team. But I'll get into why I'm not too hopeful going into next week. But we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the game itself. First quarter on the opening drive, Matt Stafford threw an interception to Zach Bond, who gave the Eagles the ball at the Los Angeles 38. Bond jumped the route perfectly. Stafford was trying to force the ball. I think with Stafford, um, over the last like 15 years of watching him, he thinks he has such. I mean, he has one of the strongest arms in NFL history. That's not a question. But I think he tries to use it to his advantage, and it becomes a disadvantage when he tries to force the ball into tight windows. And it leads to this happening where you see uncharacteristic interceptions, random interceptions at times. It's not like I mean, it's as simple as like reading the linebacker. Like if he looks at the linebacker and recognizes, I'm not going to be able to make that pass. There's no quarterback that would have been able to ever make that pass because it was not even a tight window. There was no window to throw it. So Bond just jumped that route. It was a great play by Zach Bond. Jalen Hurts ran an option on fourth down and picked up a long gain. Um, we didn't really see that many designed runs with Jalen before this week in weeks 1 and 2, but we saw a lot more in this game. It's like, and look, I'll talk about Kevin Patullo. Um, I'll get to him in a minute, but this was the first time we utilized Jalen's ability to run, and but it ended up being too late. Like a lot of these runs were to start the game, but they were at awful times in the game. So he couldn't run as much as he normally does. He ended up having an unbelievable game passing. So it was a great play by Jalen Hurts. Fourth down again on the opening drive, and the brotherly shove worked like a charm. Jalen Hurts ran the brotherly shove for a 1 yard touchdown. Again, look, I know people have been saying it's like t fans of other teams are blaming the Eagles and blaming the play. I'm like, I don't even know what you want me to say. Like the refs need to do a better job. I am as frustrated as everybody else. The difference is it's not has nothing to do with the play. It has everything to do with the fact that the refs are being very incompetent when it comes to this play. It's a very straightforward. And even if it wasn't that play, and you're in a jumbo formation, if you're in goal line packages, this stuff is going to happen if this play is in football or out of football. It doesn't matter. So it's annoying from from my perspective because I see it every single week. And it's not just the Eagles, it's also the defensive side. I think both the offense and defense are either in the neutral zone or they're having a false start. And it's stupid. Just get the right plays. And Roger Goodell was like, "All right, we're they're going to be really stingy going forward." This was before this week, before this game, and no changes whatsoever. Not a single change. There were two times, and they were all in the opening drive, both the shove plays, where I mean the first time the guards jumped, and it was pretty clear and obvious. The second time, guards didn't jump, and defense player jumps, And it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter for like, look, I love seeing how successful it is, but call the right play. I don't just call it. So, in fact, a negative about this is Lane Johnson of getting hurt on the brotherly shove. So this is the first verified injury. I know a lot of people say Chris Jones in the Super Bowl, but that was unverified. It actually didn't even count towards the data that was presented to the NFL. It showed that there were no injuries as a result of the brotherly shove. Now we have the first one, and that's Lane Johnson. But Lane said after the game he's fine. It was a stinger, and he'll be ready. So he ended up not playing in this game. It ended up being a huge loss. I mean, I've been saying it all off season. I said it during the draft, uh, during the live stream that getting two tackles in the draft was perfect because Lane Johnson was the most valuable part of the entire offense. To where if you took one player out of the offense, that would cause the biggest issues. That right tackle position if Lane Johnson was pulled out. This was a prime example this game. I thought Connor Williams would be there. Obviously, he's on IR. Same thing with Hinton. He's also on IR. So it left Matt Pryor. And I've been saying the entire preseason, I don't want Matt Pryor. I don't feel comfortable with Matt Pryor. Um, uh, but luckily that we made a quick decision and put Fred Johnson out there, and that worked like a charm. But I'll get to that. Let's get back into it. Rams kicker Joshua Carty ended up kicking a 51-yard field goal. Tank Bigsby was seeing his first action at returner and was muffing the kickoff. This was single-handedly the worst game when it came to returning kicks that I've ever seen from any team in any game ever. Um, it was, I mean, hats off to Joshua Carty. Hats off to him. Like they had a strategy with the new style of kickoff, and he was nailing it. And the Eagles, I mean, between John Mechie and Tank Bigsby, they have a combined 11 total returns before this season at kick, 11 total at kick return. Tank Bigsby didn't even have one. Or no, that was John Mechie. I don't one of the two didn't even have a kick return. So before the season. I mean, what are you doing? I understand these two are talented. You gave up two draft picks for Tank Bigsby. It didn't make sense. This is where it's almost like the front offices are playing Madden when it comes to return specialists because they think putting a talented they think they shouldn't put one of their more talented players back there because it'll cause an injury. But if you don't put your more talented players back there, then you're going to have bad field position and you might end up losing the game. This was a huge impact on the overall game. Um, because the Eagles just went. I mean, there was I think 5, 6 times in this game where the Eagles just were at like the 25 or less. So it was annoying. It was annoying. And again, hats off to Joshua Carty. Hats off to the Rams special teams and Michael. This was probably Michael Clay's worst special teams game when it came to returning. Michael Clay, our special teams coordinator. But otherwise, I mean, Michael Clay ended up making up for it with having Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis on blocking field goals. So Matt Pryor came into the game for Lane Johnson with the neck injury. It was very clear off the bat that you couldn't get anything going running or passing with Matt Pryor at right tackle. Matt Stafford ended up throwing a 44-yard touchdown to wide receiver Davante Adams. Um, I mean, people are going to say Davante Adams pushed off. I've been very numb to pass interference penalties over the last like 8 years, 7 years. So I thought Devontae Adams made a great play. Um, and yeah, you beat Reed Blankenship. That's why Devontae Adams is, I mean, he's not just a veteran, but he's a future Hall of Famer. So, I mean, Reed's got to probably play up more in that play because, I mean, Adams just ended up beating him. So it was probably one of Reed's worst coverage snaps. Um, yeah. And Matt Pryor, I even wrote down he couldn't block a fly so far in this game, and it was very apparent. And it got worse. It got so much worse. Rams defense was allowing too much on the inside for any of their, or not Rams. The Eagles' run defense was allowing too much on the inside for any of their running backs. It seems like between Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, they were just having a field day running up the middle. That was, but again, Vic Fangio's defense is tightened up as the game went on, and that's the one thing that I mean. People say Vic Fangio, this was one of his worst games. It was a pretty bad game, but again, this is week three. I expect this to only get better, and I mean, I thought the defense was playing good enough to where the offense should have done a better job in the first half, and we would have won normally. But whatever. Holding call on the Rams brought back a rushing touchdown, and Joshua Carty ended up kicking a 28-yard field goal. Yeah, the center just straight up tackled Jahad Campbell. It happened twice in this game. Kyron Williams, it happened to him. It's like they had no idea how to block him. They just were like, "All right, we're gonna tackle you." Okay. Another muff kick with this one coming from John Mechie. Awful play calling right now on offense. Nobody was getting open. There was no rushing lanes. This was just straight up awful play calling on all aspects. Awful coaching. Um, a th- uh, Joshua Carty and the Rams ended up kicking a 33-yard field goal. That was probably the issue with the Rams is they couldn't finish drives because if they finished drives, this game would have been a blowout. A third muff kick from the return is embarrassing. Oh, just wait. This is my live notes. So there was a third kick return that was muffed. Um, and this time we had another punt, and the offense was just it was just playing. It was just horrendous. I mean, Kevin Patullo has no third and long plays in his playbook. Not a single one. He has just cute RB draw. They've they've or like It's just a run, handoff. It's embarrassing because you even if it's third down and 10, it's like, all right, or third down and 8, and he's like, all right, we're gonna run the ball. What? Third and 8. Throw the ball. You have AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert in this game. First game back for Dallas Goedert. Joshua Carty ended up kicking a 46-yard field goal. Rams led 19-7 at halftime. Yeah, like I said, defense was doing its job. I mean, it was 19-7. How th this is how we operate for this is how we've operated for the last year defensively. Like I saw no issues with the defense. People are going to nitpick the defense, but I didn't see any issues with the defense at all. Offense just looked horrendous. I thought week one was fine, and week two you were playing the Chiefs, so I knew we would need to get a little unconventional playing the Chiefs, but now it's just repetitive. Like there's people debating whether or Patullo is worse than Brian Johnson. It it, it was sad because they couldn't do anything. Um, Third quarter, opening kickoff of the second half, muffed. Um, And 2 plays into the drive, Jalen Hurts is strip sacked. Now, Matt Pryor just completely whiffed on Jared Verse, and Jalen didn't have time to react to it. Um, like I don't even blame Jalen. Uh, The Rams ended up recovering the fumble at the Philadelphia 10-yard line, and Matt Stafford immediately threw a 10-yard touchdown to Kyron Williams. This was the worst start to a half I've ever seen with from the Eagles. Um, Between the muff kick, strip sack recovered by the Rams, and then a touchdown one play later, literally 3 plays into the game and into the second half, and even though you started with the ball, the Rams ended up scoring. So it was apparent. Jeff Stoutland ended up talking to Matt Pryor on the sideline. You see him come off after the strip sack, and it was pretty clear that a decision was getting made right then and there to get Matt Pryor out of the game. Something had to have been done, and it was probably the best decision Jeff Stoutland's made in a very long time. Um, so Fred Johnson then comes in. Fred Johnson, I love him. He is now everybody loves Fred Johnson. I mean he did play last year a little bit when Jordan Mailata was banged up. Um, and I always liked watching Fred Johnson last year. I mean, I think our tackle positions are set, but he's a great offensive lineman to have coming off the bench. And I thought losing him in free agency, it sucked, but I knew we had better offensive linemen. But trading for him, I was okay with that. I was okay with that. I mean, he came in. And immediately the offense changed. Immediately the offense was like, all right, oh, we need to pass more. It's like Kevin Patullo for the last couple weeks has been looking at one side of the playbook and he's like, oh my God, this is double-sided. There's all these plays. Wait, it's not even double-sided. It's a book. It's a whole book. It's a whole book of plays that they haven't been running. That's how it looked in the second half. It was like Kevin Patullo was like, wow, I can't believe it. There's all these plays. I mean, I saw a TikTok basically saying the same exact thing. Um, I couldn't believe it. So, Fred Johnson comes in. Jalen Hurts throws a 33-yard touchdown to Dallas Goedert. Hurts then was firing on all cylinders, especially in the second half. One of the best second halves of football I've seen at Jalen Hurts. Um, all for the for 2.5 weeks people have been saying Jalen can't throw, and then like our Rams administrator Glenn was like, is that something that Philadelphia fans just say so that they can get fired up? And I'm like, no. And I proceeded to send message after message of people literally saying for the last 3 weeks at least, because you could go back years and talk about Jalen Hurts' passing and people saying Jalen can't throw, Jalen can't throw, Jalen can't throw, Jalen can't throw. Literally, the reason we won this game was because Jalen was throwing the ball. Um, we didn't need to do that the first 2 weeks. We didn't need to. Could we have? Yes. I would say after the delay in the Dallas game, things changed where we couldn't make those throws. The weather was awful in that game. And the Chiefs, again, you got to be unconventional when you're playing a team like the Chiefs. I expect I expect other teams to do the same thing when they're playing the Eagles. There's very few teams that you have to change a little your philosophy a little bit to be better. Um, so the 33-yard touchdown. Then Eagles get the ball back. Jalen Hurts throws a 9-yard touchdown. Um, it was 26 to 26 to 21. 26-21. Going into the fourth quarter. Rams turned the ball over on downs at the Philadelphia 47-yard line. It seemed like the Eagles are getting momentum at this point, and the Rams wanted to go for it. I thought it made more sense for them to punt because you'd be backing us up, but this just put us into into range to do whatever we wanted. Jordan Davis ended up with the stop on fourth down. This was the best game I've seen out of Jordan Davis ever. Especially the last 3 weeks. This season so far has been the best start of Jordan Davis' entire career. It's been the best 3 game stretch of Jordan Davis' entire career. I like after this game, I'm like, pay him the extension, give him whatever he wants, because he deserves it. especially when he's off the field. He's such a big body. I mean, he has lost weight, but he's still a big body that sucks up any run game. And when he's not on the field, you can see it. And that's not saying he's better than Jalen Carter, but it's Jalen Carter's a better pass rusher than Jordan Davis. But Jordan Davis is just such a big body in the middle that it gives teams a hard time to run against the Eagles. So Eagles didn't do anything and ended up turning the ball over on downs at midfield. Josh O'Carty had a 39-yard field goal blocked by Jalen Carter, who was then flagged for taunting, of course. In fact, Devontae Smith went up to Jalen Carter to talk to him because, dude, you gotta get your head on straight. Everybody is annoyed with you right now. The fans, your teammates are clearly annoyed. When Devontae Smith is the guy walking up to you, that's when you know you did something wrong. Because, like, I expect Jalen Hurts to do it. I expect Saquon to do it. I expect even AJ Brown to do it. Devontae is a quiet guy. He's a funny guy. But when Devontae Smith is walking up to you and saying, dude, you need to, like, calm down, whatever he said to him, you got to listen to Devontae Smith. So I'm really perturbed by Jalen Carter this year. Between the Cowboys game and this game, it's been aggravating, and the Chiefs game. Offense was operating too slow in my opinion towards in that last offensive drive. Um, it was it's like they didn't know whether they wanted to run out the clock or not, but they weren't going to be able to run enough clock out. I thought they could get into at least field goal range and then kick it back to the Rams with like 3 minutes left, end all your timeouts and try and stop them because that's what you've been doing already. And you know, on a fourth down, Jalen Hurts threw a 4 yard touchdown to um Devontae Smith. So 2 point conversion was unsuccessful. So then you got to play defense, and it's basically how you had to play the last part of the divisional round game against the Rams. You had to stop them on defense. So Rams drive down the field. They were just eating up yards, chunk play, and I mean you were like, all right, they're gonna get into field goal range. The only thing is like Cardi was perfect so far on his kicks outside of the block, so you were like, we need to block another kick probably. And I think this kick would have been good if it wasn't blocked. But Josh O'Carty line up for a 44-yard field goal, and Jordan Davis blocks it, picks it up, and returns it 61 yards for a touchdown, and the Eagles won 33-26. Um, that was it was quite the comeback. Like I'm at a loss of words. I mean, I have I have all the confidence in this offense to make this comeback. I have all the confidence in this defense. And really the issue that I've had over the last like 4 years has been play calling. Is can the offense and defense be coached well enough and be given the plays to make the right plays? And I mean, since Vic Fangio got here, I mean, I don't see Vic Fangio ever leaving for a very long time. He might end up retiring as an Eagle. I mean, he loves Philadelphia so much. And I mean, really, it just comes down to the offensive play calling. As long as the offensive play calling is playing good, like last year, it was okay. It was good. It was good enough. And I mean, up for 2.5 weeks this year, they were rough. And I mean, I saw better plays called in the preseason from Patullo. But the second half was awesome, outstanding. By throwing the ball, you opened up lanes for Saquon to run, and it opened up the whole offense. So maybe going forward, you need to be passing the ball to open up the run game, which is the complete opposite of what I talked about last year with Kellen Moore and Kellen Moore. Um, my issue with Kellen Moore was he wasn't running. We were a pass offense and we were running enough. And it feels like we're a run offense that needs to pass more. Which so it's a reverse of this year. Like you need to find a balance. And maybe that's something I didn't appreciate enough of Kellen Moore is he at least tried to find some balance. And I mean, that was something Petula hadn't done until this last half against the Rams. So, yeah, Jordan Davis, I mean, that return, that block and return will be remembered in Eagles history. Um, I'm so proud of Jordan Davis having such a great game. Everybody was so happy for him. It just seems like it there's I mean Jordan Davis also had a clutch stop on Matt Stafford. There was a third down. Stafford rolled out. He had nobody open. I mean Stafford would look like he was going to get the first down. Jordan Davis tackled him from behind, tackled him and prevented him from getting the first down. They ended up punting. Um, or that might have been when they turned the ball over on downs, but it ended up being important for the game. But Jordan Davis, I mean, he was the MVP of this game very clearly. And if you want to ask me who the best Eagle has been so far through 3 weeks, it's Jordan Davis, which is shocking. I can't believe I'm saying that, considering all the talent on this team is Jordan Davis. But hats off to Jordan Davis. He's the man. I'm proud of him for the performance that he had in this game, and yeah, everybody wants him back long term after this game. But yeah, the Eagles end up playing the Bucks next week in Tampa. Eagles left, I think, Monday because they want to get acclimated to the weather because it's like especially like 100 degrees on Sunday and then possible thunderstorms. Yeah, that's gonna be rough. I mean, my prediction on this season was we would start 3-0 and our first loss would be against the Bucks. So that's my prediction. Now things have changed since then, obviously. Mike Evans is hurt. He's not going to be playing. I mean, he's going to be out like 2, 3 weeks. If he played, that would be a miracle. Um, Eagles today put Nolan Smith on the IR. I don't expect them to make any sort of big move. And Ja'Cory and Bennett on the IR. So I wanted to see Ja'Cory and Bennett play. It sucks that he's going to be on IR, but Nolan Smith not being on IR. I mean, last week I had this issue with like we got Josh Uche and Agbo Okoronkwo. Um, they've been healthy and actives, but now that Nolan Smith is on IR, one of them can get a shot. I liked Uchi in the preseason. I want to see him. And having Zadarius Smith and Azeez Ojulari and Jalix Hunt, I'm very confident on our edge rushers, even without Nolan Smith being there. I was actually shocked that he got hurt because I didn't even remember Nolan Smith getting hurt, but that's just goes to show the rotation on edge rushers that we have. Um, Ja'Cory and Bennett not playing. Adoree Jackson got hurt. I heard the Eagles might be looking at trading for a corner. Look, I've been saying Denzel Ward for a very long time, and Denzel Ward is someone I'd like, and I think he would complement this whole defense very well. Um, Otherwise, I mean, you could see Perry Nickerson got called up, so you could see Cooper DeJean go outside Perry Nickerson and slot because Perry Nickerson's a slot guy. Even then, if Adoree Jackson can't go, you got Ja'Cory Bennett on IR. Keely Ringo's still here, and Eli Ricks is on the practice squad. Um, and Mac McWilliams, the rookie. So we'll see how the cornerback position plays, but I'm still confident in the edge rushers. And yeah, I mean, you play the Bucks. I heard they signed Desmond Watson, I'm pretty sure that's his name, the Desmond Watson, the enormous behemoth of a man at defensive tackle. More than likely, I mean, I knew this was going to happen. This was to try and stop the tush push, brotherly shove. I call it the brotherly shove. Uh, and I mean, go figure. They sign him back, and of course he gets the weight that he needs to get to meet. They met the requirements. Yeah, okay, but I knew this was going to happen. Um, I mean, you're gonna have Quinion on Ibuka, Emeka Ibuka, so you need to keep him on there. And if he can't handle him, I think Cooper DeJean would probably match up better against Ibuka. Um, Otherwise, you got to be prepared for Bucky Irving out of the backfield. Zach Bond was questionable; he had an injury, but I think he's gonna be okay. Jahad Campbell as well. I think both of them can handle Bucky Irving out of the backfield pretty well. And then Baker Mayfield. I mean, you got to handle him running outside the pocket. You got to contain him and force him to throw. And that's not, I mean, I think Baker's a really good quarterback. Compared to what I've originally thought about him, he's definitely improved over the years. So this is going to be a very interesting game. Bucks, I mean, I assume they're going to come out dinking and dunking. That's how you beat Vic Fangio's defense. Got to get some pressure on Baker Mayfield. That's really it. And defensively, the Bucks have a very good run defense, so Saquon might not have the best game. It's going to come down to Devontae Smith and obviously Dallas Goedert is going to be probably covered by Levante David, so he's probably going to struggle. It's going to come down to AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts because I mean it's got to come down to those guys. Last year against the Bucks, they didn't have Devontae Smith, didn't have AJ Brown, didn't have Lane Johnson, and now we're going to have all three back. So I think we should be able to play the Bucks defense very well, but Todd Bowles is a very good defensive mind. So I'm really nervous going into this game. Otherwise we're 3-0. I just wanted to see good play calling, and yeah, the last time the Eagles lost a football game was against the Buccaneers. Well, all right, scratch that. Last time we lost a football game was against the Commanders. Last time we lost a football game where Jalen Hurts played the whole game was against the Buccaneers. So with that being said, I will see you next week, and I will recap the Eagles and Bucks game, and hopefully come out with a win for the Eagles. So until then, go Birds.